Last week I uploaded a video talking about 10 Egyptian gods Kratos and Atreus should fear, and one comment I saw more than once was regarding the god Anubis. Some people were bothered that I only mentioned him in passing while talking about his father Osiris, and I'm guessing they think I did this because I favored his green looking father instead of him. But that couldn't be further from the truth. In actuality, the first Egyptian god I learned about as a kid was Anubis. This was thanks to the Mummy movies, which, even though its CGI hasn't aged very well, his design still remains one of the better ones I've seen. The real reason I didn't talk about him as much in that video is because I was saving him for this one. You see, I want to use Anubis as a catapult to talk about one of the best items in the God of War series, and how they could bring it back. Of course, I'm talking about the Boots of Hermes. Now, you're probably asking yourself, how in the Hades am I planning to bring together these two topics together? And that, my friends, is a very valid question. Which is why before we even start talking about Anubis and the Boots of Hermes, I want to take you on a little detour. I want to explain to you guys how exactly I make my theory videos. And hopefully with that explanation, you will leave this video hyped about a possible return of the Boots of Hermes. Now, if you look at my channel, you will see a lot of theories. In fact, I want to say that at least 90% of my content is nothing but theories. And this is something some people either find amazing or straight up insane. And here's where I'm gonna let you guys in on my secret sauce. Even though most of my videos have the word theory in the title, it doesn't mean that they're all the same type of theory. I personally like to separate them into two categories. Maybe three if you count the ones focused on character development. But the most important, and I guess the most liked ones, are the ones I believe actually have a chance at being true. These are the theories that are based on something in the story that's clearly a hint for the sequel, such as the Man in the Mural or Who Blew the Horn. Which means these are theories both fans and developers expect. One of the most recent ones I've made like this has to be the one where I theorize that either Mimir or Hildisvini will become the new ruler of Helheim. No matter what people tell me, I know that if Santa Monica is faithful to what they set up in God of War Ragnarok, one of these two guys will become the new ruler of Hell. But there's another type of theory, a type that I like to call crunching the numbers. These are theories that start with a question, wouldn't it be interesting if A happened in the sequel? From here, all I have to do is crunch the numbers to see if it's even possible. In my experience, these are the theories most people dislike, because no one is asking these questions aside from me, and often they come across as me reaching. For example, one of my most recent theories like this was a short I made talking about where exactly did Lysandra and Calliope died. Most fans won't think twice about answering this question. They will simply say Greece. But if you crunch the numbers, you could come up with a theory that tells you that they actually died in Egypt. Understandably, a lot of people call this a reach, but to this day, no one has been able to argue with the fact that the houses in that location don't look very Greek, or that the novel refers to the oracle as a Nubian woman, or that early in the series, the universe was seen as being ruled by only the gods of Olympus. Meaning that it's possible Ares could have sent Kratos to Egypt without any problem from the gods in these lands because they didn't exist. Do I believe that we will actually see the place where Lysandra and Calliope died in God of War Egypt? Probably not. But what I did with this short was proof that it was possible if and only if the writers deemed this revelation to be important to the story. Because whether we like it or not, the job of a writer isn't to know the lore 100%. That helps. But their job is to tell compelling stories where you see characters make meaningful changes by the end of the story. And that's what writers need people like us. People that can crunch the numbers, to see if their big emotional moments can be achieved through the lore. By the way, whoever crunched the numbers with this moment wasn't very good, because everybody knows Kratos lost the Blades of Chaos during the fight with Ares. And if you feel the urge to say they were cursed to follow him, I hate to tell you this, but you don't understand the lore problem you're trying to solve. But anyway, I already gave Santa Monica a freebie with that short about Calliope and Lysandra. If they wanted to change the location of their death to Egypt, they don't even have to worry about justifying it. I already crunched the numbers for them, and it's possible. Now with this video, I want to help out the combat designers. Combat designers, aren't you guys tired of how slow these games' combat system can feel at times? Do you think that maybe the combat would benefit from the addition of the iconic Boots of Hermes? If you do, just stick around a little bit longer. Now, at the beginning of this video, I mentioned Anubis. And as I'm sure you know, Anubis was considered by many to be the god of death or the underworld, the equivalent to Hades in Greek mythology. But this becomes problematic when you find out that Osiris also had that role. This is because during the First Dynasty, the cult of Osiris didn't exist. Before Osiris, Anubis was indeed the king of the underworld. However, when Osiris arrived to the scene, Anubis was given a lesser role. lesser but still very important to the Egyptian people. Anubis became the god of funerary rites, protector of graves, and more importantly, Anubis would guide the souls of the dead to the underworld after mortals had died. If this sounds familiar, it's because Hermes also had this role. This is embarrassing for me to admit, but I only learned about this fact after watching Blood of Zeus on Netflix. Which, by the way, what's taking so long with season 2, right? Anyway, aside from delivering messages to the gods, Hermes also guided the souls of the dead to the underworld. This similarity to Anubis was something ancient Egyptians also noticed, because at one point, they combined the two gods and called them Hermanubis. Yeah, I'm not making this shit up. But I know what you're thinking. Just because ancient Egyptians had a god named Hermanubis, it doesn't mean that the Boots of Hermes will make a comeback. Silly Captain Kuba, all of Kratos' equipments were left destroyed in Greece. What are you talking about? And while that assumption is true, it's not true all the way, because the only item Kratos took with him to Egypt were the Boots of Hermes. And yes, I know that in the E3 2016 demo you can see the boots inside Kratos' home, but after the game came out they were nowhere to be found. Most likely they placed them in the E3 demo to make sure fans didn't think this was another timeline that had nothing to do with the Greek games. So what happened to the boots then? Kratos most likely discarded the boots in Egypt, because while it's true that he had them in the earlier panels, by the end of the comic Kratos is only wearing bandages on his legs. He still has sandals, but the wings themselves seem to be missing. This immediately opens the possibility to encounter Anubis wearing said boots. He doesn't have to wear the Greek robe, that looks kinda dumb if you ask me. But the boots? That could be an interesting twist to the character of Anubis. The numbers have been crunched, my friends. Ancient Egyptians believed there was a god named Hermanubis, and in the God of War series the Boots of Hermes are currently in Egypt. All the pieces to this theory are in place, but say it with me kids, this will only happen if and only if Santa Monica deems this addition to be necessary in the sequel. The writers can simply say that Anubis found them and put them to good use. This formulation is tight as E equals MC squared. Okay, maybe not as tight. For one thing, this theory makes Anubis seem like a beggar who needs another Pantheon's equipment to do his job. And Freya also mentions that magic is tied to the land where it's from, so maybe the boots don't work to begin with. But then again, the Blades of Chaos still work in the Norse lands. So maybe she was only talking about the spells and other types of magic attacks, not items that contain said magic. The point is, even though it's not perfect, at least my calculations get rid of the two biggest problems, where the Boots of Hermes currently are, and the reason for why Anubis should use them. The rest can be adjusted by expanding the lore a little bit more. I also think Atreus putting on the Boots of Hermes has a symbolic purpose. I predict the story of Atreus will deal with themes of pride. Everyone in the Norse pantheon loves him for the efforts he made to stop Odin. But maybe this isn't how the rest of the world will see Atreus. Maybe the rest of the world will give the credit to the much more powerful Kratos, who is already known for having put an end to an evil pantheon. Imagine what Atreus' reaction will be if Anubis gives him the Boots of Hermes and now Atreus literally has to walk in his father's steps, although much less bloody. But if you ask me, the reason why I want the Boots of Hermes to return is because of gameplay. I think it could add a lot more speed to combat as well as a return of platforming. But what do you guys think? Would you like Santa Monica to bring the Boots of Hermes back? Whatever your thoughts and theories are, make sure to leave them in the comments section below. And if you have any other topics that require my number crunching skills, let me know in the comments section below. Next week, I'm gonna be proving why Kratos is Barney in disguise. You won't wanna miss it. I know this was a shorter video, but it was something that I had in the back of my mind for a while and I wanted to share with you guys. Which means this type of weird and experimental content can only be possible thanks to my members for their continued support of the channel. People like Jen, Ryan X, Michael T, Adrian Colsean, Doku Gamer, and Fenrir, to name a few, are the best help any YouTuber could ask for. And for that, I thank you guys. I would also like to thank everyone who likes and shares my videos. I know it doesn't seem like much, but trust me, it really does help. And with that said, thanks for watching. And remember, go forth in the name of Olympus.